Today, we're working with our friends at Mankato Motorsports in Mankato, Minnesota.
Hi folks, I'm Nate with You Guys in Ride, and today we're down here at Mankato Motorsports in Mankato, Minnesota, and we're with Aaron, and we are talking today about the Polaris Khaos RMK 850. So, Aaron, what primarily is this? You know, so we have some ski sleds that are good for hill climbing, trail riding, you know, up on deep snow. What's this one made for?
This would be a mountain sled for deep snow riding. It's probably where it's going to shine the best. It's a 155-inch track, and it's a little more narrow ski stance to initiate some more side hilling out west is where this machine's primarily going to shine.
Okay, so does it do sides and hills well then too?
Yeah, that's kind of part of this. The new Khaos package for Polaris is actually a whole different rear suspension in the back, which makes it easier to initiate side hills and get the sled to kind of go more where you want it while you're leaning that way.
All right, so let's walk to the back here and talk specifically just about some of the things that are new on there with that suspension.
Yeah, so the rear angles of the suspension are a little bit different than any standard Pro. It's kind of more of a tighter back end with the skid and the rails where they're positioned here. That's just going to make side hilling and tipping the machine down a lot easier. It's a lot more lightweight and a little more playful. If you saw the shock package too, these WER Velocity Shocks are the newest in the top preload packages for this model that come with standard out of Khaos.
I also noticed how much the track slants down in the back, you know, from the body.
Yep, from the rear cooler. Yeah, it's just giving you a lot more space in between basically your track and the tunnel to get as much snow out as possible to keep moving. Yep,
right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, on the driver's area here, I noticed we've got this digital readout screen here.
Yeah.
So basically, what's included in here?
So that's considered PID, they call it. It's Polaris Interactive Digital Display, and on here there's a lot of different stuff actually. We have it set up here on the GPS or the maps and trails. So this is kind of an upgraded screen that you can get on pretty much any Polaris snowmobile, even if your snowmobile didn't come with it from the factory. You can add it on later on. But the nice thing about this is with the maps and trails, you can also group ride. So if you have other people that have Polaris with this display, you can sync all of your machines together and see each other on the map.
Well, that is
where
really
everybody is. Yeah, and Polaris kind of has it dialed in too, where a lot of times when you're riding in the backcountry of the mountains, you don't really get cell reception. So this kind of pre-downloads your maps, and it'll actually work without any like cell service.
Okay.
So you can continue to see where you are. Your maps won't ever bog out in the back. That's just one of the features here on the map. You can obviously, there's a lot of different stuff. You can sync your phone right to it, so that it'll also track your ride on your phone if you have the Polaris Ride Command app. That'll keep track of basically your fuel consumption and your miles and everything else. That'll sync it right into your phone. They have all kind of, you know, if you're around a place where it doesn't have non-oxygenated fuel, you can change this to have either E10 or non-oxy gas, depending on what you fill up. That'll kind of change the detonation in the engine. Yeah. So it's quite a nice machine here.
That's a lot of customizing. I mean, built right into it.
Yeah, they've had it out here for a couple of years, and riders really like that option.
I can see that. I mean, it's very aggravating when your cell signal goes out and your GPS conks.
And then everything goes down with it. So
yeah, and then the fact that I think one of my favorite things is the fact that you can pair up with other riders with the same system and see where they are.
Yep, and we're incorporating a lot more of that into almost everything. It's the same even with the Polaris side-by-side that have the ride command. You can go trail riding with your friends and sync all your machines together.
I'd be interested to look at the brochure if they refer to that as one of their safety systems, because way out in the middle of nowhere,
right,
knowing where somebody is to get to is a huge deal.
Well, and especially snowmobiling too, because you never know if somebody stopped or something happened. You know, you can see if you turn around and they're not behind you, you can at least see on the map if they're still moving or if they're stopped, and maybe you need to turn around and see if they need help.
That is really neat. Okay, as far as the controls go, walk us through them just real quickly.
So the controls on a mountain sled may be a little different than what you're used to seeing on a trail sled. There's not a lot going on the handlebars. They move a lot of this like hand warmers and lights and things like that down here. Mountain riding, obviously, you're a lot more aggressive on the snowmobile, and so you pretty much just have reverse. Or E-start if it's with it, but that's your reverse button, and then just the kill switch. And even a lot of mountain riders will take this kill switch and they'll they'll turn it upside down or move it out of the way so that you don't accidentally hit it on the middle of a hill climb and shut your machine off halfway up. So a lot of times on mountain sleds you'll see very clean bars and not a lot of extra buttons for lights and things. You kind of want all that free from jumping from side to side and grabbing back onto the bar.
And then back here behind the seat where there is no additional seat, obviously this is a one-person sled.
This is a one-person sled, yep.
This would be for, I'm assuming accessories, baggage, things you can put on the tunnel there.
Yep, they make the rear cooler, like your cooling system or your radiators running underneath here, which is going to cool the machine down. But these slots and things in here are already ready for Polaris's bolt-on backpacks or your storage or gas caddies, things like that. They'll just lock into the rail.
And you can order those from you.
Absolutely,
right?
yep. We have a bunch of that stuff here right on hand.
Great. So stepping up to the front here, let's talk a little bit about the suspension and a little bit maybe about the skis here. So let's start with the suspension. What is it set up with?
So the new WER Velocity Shocks here is just a little bit more where you can key in and dial in your preload of how fast these are going to sink down or how stiff they are, and then the other dial is going to determine how fast they rebound back up after something. So if you got good snow, you can certainly stiffen them up a little bit to hold a better line. But if you've ever ridden out there, the trails get pretty pounded and bumpy, so when you're heading back, you can stiffen them all up so you don't have to feel all those bumps on the trails on the way back to your truck.
And they're nice and easy to adjust.
Everything's super simple to click around exactly where you want to dial it in.
Now, anything special? I know the skis are mounted in closer.
Correct.
But to give it less of a width. But anything else special about that?
Well, they have they run a 36-inch front suspension with those A-arms, so they're a little bit shorter A-arms than you're used to seeing on a trail sled, and then they do have those spacers down, what you're seeing now on a lot more mountain and crossover sleds. So if you are taking a trip somewhere around, say a lot of guys take them to the UP in Michigan and things, you can widen that stance out for, if you're not going to do a lot of mountain riding, you can still widen it out so it's not so tippy on the trails when you're running around with a bunch of other guys.
Now, LED lighting, front and rear.
Yep, the LED rear tail light and headlights are already in that machine.
And then, what does it have for a motor?
This is the 850, the RMK, the 850 cc engine. That's about 165 horsepower.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they get up and go.
That's a lot for as little weight as this thing has.
Yeah, the horsepower to weight ratio is pretty ridiculous nowadays on these machines.
Underneath, fuses, anything else, what would you need to get at then if you were on the trail or working on this thing?
So probably not a ton that you really need to get at. A lot of guys will hold their spare belt in there. Obviously, like your oil injection is in there. You'll have to kind of get into that panel. But this is a 2.6-inch lug, so this is actually on a belt drive system. So there is no chain case or chain case oil or anything to service. It's on another belt drive system that actually moves it where traditionally you'd see like a chain case oil on that side.
Okay. What else, Aaron, would you like to mention about the sled?
Oh, super popular sleds. Just the Khaos is kind of one of those premium models that's typically a spring order machine only, so it's kind of their newest and their coolest of the mountain sleds here. So they've been really, really popular, and the guys that have ran seem to love them.
Can you adjust the handlebars up or down?
You can if you add you can add bar risers to this. There's nothing that's a quick adjust. Typically, the mountain guys, they don't really want that type of adjustable just because it's not as firm as what it is from the factory. But Polaris gives you a lot of different options, so if you do end up ordering one of these in the off-season, you can pick your bar height right from the factory and it'll get built that way, whether you want a low, a mid, or a tall bar height on your machine.
So with the accessories you can get...
Yeah, when you go on, Polaris has a lot of really cool stuff with like an interactive play around website where you can sit and build this 100 different ways and kind of see how it is from the windshield to the bar height to the colors to the rails. You can pretty much customize these almost any way you can think.
And that is a really nice feature. I mean, if you can go online, especially nowadays, and build it and see it.
You build it and see it how it's going to be right from the factory. And then a lot of times too, when you kind of build it exactly how you want it, there's not a lot you really have to adjust or change when you get it. You don't have to add a bar riser or pay the extra money to get it to the height you want. You can just have it built that way at the factory and be done.
Now, a year ago, was that possible to do?
Polaris has been doing that for a couple years now,
Wow,
so
okay,
yeah,
so they're ahead of the game.
They're ahead of the game on a lot of that stuff for sure.
I do like the fact that even though it's sort of a specific sled for a specific reason, that you can quickly and easily modify it to have, you know, more stability. So if you want to ride it somewhere different, you could, you know, because things change in life. You may move for some reason.
Things change, you move. Not all of people's significant others will allow you to have 5 different snowmobiles in the garage for every different trip.
Are you speaking from personal experience?
Yeah, I'm speaking from personal experience. You got to kind of pick one in the middle, and then you can adjust it to anywhere you need to go. Right.
There you go. Now, if I'm a customer and I want to come in and I want to buy this one, is this the one that I buy, or is this like a floor model and then you order it?
No, this one would be available to buy if somebody likes this color, this model, this package, everything looks good to them. This would be something that somebody can come in right now and pay for it, load it up, take it home right with them. If it's something that you specifically want to build in your colors, your way, that's something that actually happens on typically the off season. You do basically a spring order because they will build snow machines like this during the summer so that they're ready and built the way you want them in the fall for pickup.
So what you're saying is snowmobile purchasers are better planned people than car purchasers.
You would think, but not always. You know,
because I don't think that far in advance about my car.
We don't think about that far in advance on our trips either. You know, when you're ready to head out west, you got about a 12-hour notice and pack the bags and just go. You know, that seems to be, I guess, the guys are getting things together.
All right, Aaron, thank you so much on behalf of Two Guys That Ride for spending your time talking about this beautiful sled today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, as a reminder, if you want to order this sled, Mankato Motorsports, which is where we are, does do online orders. You can have this sled right here shipped to your home. Not only that, but they sell all sorts of accessories for all the products that they have here. That being said, folks, take a moment to give us a like and hit that subscribe button down below. And as always, thanks for watching.